So luckily, neither race nor discrimination played a role in my formative years. Um, that's no surprise when you look like everyone else in your neighborhood. I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, the African American part, not the Orthodox Jewish part. My parents were very overprotective. I was so sheltered that I completely missed the Crown Heights riots. Um, it blew my mind that I lived right in the middle of it and completely missed it. Racism didn't play a direct role or impact my life directly until I was much older and I started dating this white guy. So Frank and I would hold hands in the street, or we'd show a little bit of PDA, and people took notice. Sometimes they looked at us with judgment. Other times they looked at us with disgust. It kind of blew my mind because we lived in good old spread love. It's the Brooklyn way, New York. But don't get me wrong. It wasn't everyone that treated us this way, but just one person was too much for me. Early on in our relationship, we experienced a few interesting things. Like the one time Frank and I were on a New York City train and this black guy sat across from us and looked at me and said, "You're a disgrace. How could you do this to our people?" And I thought to myself, for real? My little relationship impacts an entire race of people? He got off the train and hit the window behind us, and that just made clear his discontent for our relationship. Or the time when a car wash owner, white car wash owner, went and told Frank to tame your woman because I had the audacity to call him out on his bad service. Now, I needed to be calmed down after that incident because I ripped him a new asshole. But the one time that stays etched in my mind is when one Saturday afternoon, Frank and I decided to take a ride. And behind us was a vehicle. As we're driving, they honk me at the first stop sign. I now don't think anything of it because you know what? People are impatient. We get to the second stop sign and they honk me again. And I look in the rearview mirror because I'm annoyed. And I throw up my hands and I say something like, "Do you expect me to run into oncoming traffic?" So I keep driving. I get to the third stop sign. And before I could react to anything, my passenger door flies open and Frank jumps out of the car. I quickly shift into park and I get out of the car. And I'm looking at him like, dude, what's happening? At the same time, the guy in the car behind us gets out of their car, gets out of his car. And Frank now is shooting daggers at this man. Without turning to me, he says, "I was watching them in the rearview mirror, and this little motherfucker just called you a nigger." Now, I'm shocked, but I'm also dealing with some other feelings. On the one hand, there's terror because I'm a lover, not a fighter. On the other hand, there's warm and fuzzy because this man is about to defend my honor. In the midst of these feelings, the driver gets out, and I look up at her and say, "Oh shit, this bitch is huge. She's gonna kick my ass." So she goes to her trunk, she pulls something out, and decides to stand by her man. I look and notice she's got a bat. So I run to my car and I grab the club, you know, the device we used to use to lock our steering wheels. Because I knew I couldn't take her, but I'd be damned if I wasn't going to knock out a headlight. So now both couples are squaring off. Frank looks at the guy and says, "All right, little man, I dare you to say it again." After what felt like an eternity, the girlfriend goes, "You know what, babe? It's not even worth it. Let's go." Now, I don't know why she made this decision. Could be because Frank looked pissed off and she knew he could take me and my man. Or she looked at me with the club and said, "This bitch is crazy." or she had warrants out for her arrest and didn't want any trouble. But regardless of the reason, I was relieved that when we were ready to go low, she decided to go high. They get back in their car and they leave. We get back in our car and I exhale. At that moment, I realized that, you know what? If you are not paying our bills, putting food on our table, taking care of us, then your opinion is irrelevant. And we weren't going to be one of those couples that threw in the towel just because people didn't like what they saw. So, 2 years later, Frank and I got married. 20 years in, we have 3 beautiful daughters who know that if mommy or daddy ever saw someone talking trash about them through our rearview mirror, club or no club, we'd be ready to throw down. And that's what I got. Thank you.